Did you know that the Milky Way is on the move? And it's on a collision course with our neighbour known as the Andromeda Galaxy. Hi folks, and thank you for joining me once again on Rico's Nature Realm. My name is Rico, and on this channel I'll be exploring natural phenomena. So let's buckle in, and I hope you enjoy the journey. A lot of our interpretation of the universe has changed over the centuries. This is due to the development of technology and human understanding. Many of the ancient cultures looked into the sky and created stories on how the Milky Way was created. Such stories include the ancient Greeks, where the goddess Hera spilt milk while nursing Hercules. This created a path to Mount Olympus, a path that we now know as the Milky Way, and this is that white glow that we can see at night in the sky. And it's the same path that the god Helios took to drag his chariot and sun across the sky behind him. The word galaxy originated from the Greek word gala, which simply means milk. In Chinese mythology, the Milky Way was referred to as a silver river. The gods placed a river in the sky to separate the weaver god who sewed the stars in the sky at night. Technology such as rockets, telescopes and space probes have developed our understanding of the universe. We still have a lot that we need to learn about the Milky Way. Like, why does the Milky Way glow at night? It could be dark matter or even hidden pulsars. Since 2009, astronauts have suggested too much gamma ray light is shining from the Milky Way's core. But if it is gamma ray light, I would have thought it would have been green and angry like the Incredible Hulk. In 1755, Immanuel Kant speculated correctly that the Milky Way might be on a rotating body of a large number of stars, held together by gravitational forces to the solar system, but on a much larger scale. Progress was made in the early 20th century. Through technology, we were able to discover the existence of separate galaxies. In 1936, Edward Hubble created a classification for different types of galaxies, and we still use these classifications today. There are 4 different classifications of galaxies. The first one being a spiral galaxy. Our Milky Way is an example of a broad class of galaxies defined by the presence of spiral arms. These galaxies resemble giant rotating pinwheels with a pancake-like disk of stars and a central bulge or tight concentration of stars. The next one we have is the elliptical galaxies. Elliptical galaxies have shapes that range from completely round to oval. They are less common than the spiral galaxies. Unlike spiral galaxies, elliptical galaxies usually contain little amounts of gas and dust that indicates that these are generally older than the spiral galaxies. Elliptical galaxies also show very little organisational structure, with stars orbiting around the core in random directions. Scientists think that the elliptical galaxies originate from mergers with spirals. Then we have the lenticular galaxies. Lenticular galaxies are a kind of cross between the spirals and elliptical. They have a central bulge and disk common to spiral galaxies with no arms. But like ellipticals, the lenticular galaxies have older stellar population and little ongoing star formation. The last one is irregular galaxies. Irregular galaxies is a galaxy without a distinct shape or have an unusual shape. They could be like toothpicks, rings, or even little groupings of stars. Today we understand that the Milky Way is a spiral galaxy made up of planets, stars, gases, asteroids, and even comets. Much of the gases and dust particles and long distances have affected the progress in obtaining high quality images to assist us in how the Milky Way operates. We have learnt a lot on the planets and the stars that rotate around the galactic centre. Scientists discovered that the Milky Way started small and slowly attracted other clusters of stars and galaxies. About 90% of the Milky Way is made up of dark matter, as an unknown invisible component that glues the galaxy together. A very massive black hole lies in its core, and that's known as Sagittarius A. A black hole that's 4.3 million times the size of the Sun. This black hole was estimated to have a diameter of 14 million miles, which does not include the disk of mass being drawn into it. The outer disk is about 14.6 million times the mass of the Sun. This equates to a similar size to the orbit of the Earth around the Sun. The centre of the Milky Way is also shooting out a lot of hot air and bubbles known as Fermi bubbles. We know these consist of a lot of hot gas and energetic particles. The bubbles shoot straight out of the Milky Way's centre. from winds blowing at about 2 million miles an hour. This was only discovered in 2010. Each of the bubbles are approximately 30,000 light years long. The Milky Way is made up of two major arms called Perseus and Scatum Centaurus, with two small arms known as Norma and Sagittarius. Originally multiple galaxies, the Milky Way has already merged at least 3 times, making it what we know today. With a current diameter of 122,000 light years, 1 light year being the distance light travels in a year, of 9.5 trillion kilometres. This is not large considering that the largest galaxy is estimated to be between 4 and 6 million light years in diameter. The Milky Way is not perfectly flat. It has a central bulge that has a diameter of about 12,000 light years. It is warped due to the forces from our neighbouring galaxy known as the Large and Small Magellanic Clouds. The Magellanic Clouds are 2 irregular dwarf galaxies in the southern celestial hemisphere, orbiting the Milky Way galaxies. These satellite galaxies are members of our local group. The oldest star in the Milky Way galaxy is known as HD 140283, also known as a Methuselah star, named after the grandfather of Noah, who was the oldest man at 969 years old in the book of Genesis. The star is estimated to be at least 13.6 billion years old and 190 light years away from Earth. The largest known star is called UY Scuti and is over 1,700 times larger than the Sun. It is difficult to distinguish between a planet and a brown dwarf, but the biggest planet in the Milky Way could possibly be HD 100546b. The definition between a giant exoplanet and a brown dwarf is pretty vague, and hence the planetary status of such large bodies discovered remains to be confirmed. HD 100546b is estimated to have a radius of 6.9 times the size of Jupiter. The universe is also estimated to have 2 trillion galaxies. The largest galaxy we know of is called IC 1101 and has over 100 trillion stars. Scientists have estimated that the Milky Way has between 2 and 4 billion stars. Within our solar system of the Orion Spur that branches off from the Perseus arm of the Milky Way galaxy, we have 8 official planets rotating counterclockwise around the Sun. In order from the closest from the Sun moving outwards, these planets include Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus and Neptune. We also have a dwarf planet known as Pluto in the outer reaches. The Earth spins on its axis at approximately 1,670 kilometres or 1,030 miles per hour. The Earth also moves at a rate of 66,000 miles per hour or 107,000 kilometres around the Sun. At the same time, the Sun is rotating around the Milky Way, taking 230 million years to complete a full rotation of the Milky Way. While this is happening, the Milky Way is on the move and it's on a collision course with our neighbouring galaxy known as the Andromeda Galaxy. This is estimated to occur in about 4 billion years, and as a result, they will create a combined galaxy. How many galaxies are there? It is estimated there are between 200 billion and 2 trillion galaxies out in the observable universe. Most galaxies are between 1,000 and 100,000 parsecs in diameter. That's approximately 3,000 to 300,000 light years, and are separated by distance in order of the millions of parsecs or mega million parsecs. A parsec is used to measure a large distance of space. 1 parsec equates to 3.26 light years, or 30.9 trillion kilometres, if you prefer 19.2 trillion miles. Do you think the Millennium Falcon can still make the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs? Scientists estimate that the universe is about 13.7 billion years old, and the Milky Way is not far behind this. It's only about 13.6 billion years old, so not much of a difference. Although the main parts of the galaxy were formed in the early days of the universe, the disk and the bulge were not fully formed until about 10 or 12 billion years ago. Thanks for joining me once again, folks, and I'll see you on the next video.